Hi everyone, I'm Minh and today I'm going to present about the cellular respiration and also the photosynthesis. Let's start with cellular respiration. So as you can see at first, this is the equation for the cellular respiration. This one here, this is the glucose molecule plus 6 oxygen. In the presence of oxygen will make carbon dioxide, water and ATP. Okay, so first what happened is that the glucose we take in as food will get glycolyzed. Glycolysis it will make two pyruvates. It's a 3C molecule, and then this process will make 2 ATP here, and it will also produce this guy NAD plus, so that will be used later. And then so 2 pyruvate here goes into the mitochondrial matrix. This is where it will transform into a 2C molecule, which is called acetyl-CoA. So in this process, from a 3 carbon to 2 carbon, so 1 carbon is gone. So it's gone here into the CO2 that we breathe out. Okay, so this acetyl-CoA here with 2 carbon goes into the Krebs cycle, and the product is NADH and FADH2. So the NAD plus has become the NADH, and the Krebs cycle will make 2 ATP and will energize these two molecules. So NADH and FADH2 are high energy. They have high energy electrons, and then they release those electrons, and those electrons goes through the electron transport chain. So through the electron transport chain, it will make the energy. They will go through a thing like a pump, and then through each pump they release energy, and those energy are used to pump the positive ions of hydro out to the intermembrane of the mitochondria. And so those electrons, after goes through all of that, it will combine with some of these positive ion of hydro and with the oxygen that we breathe in to make water. Okay, we make our water and we breathe in oxygen here. They all combine to make water. And so what about the hydrogen ion? They are trapped inside of the intermembrane, and so they want to get out, and the only way is through this protein called ATP synthase. So it will make, when each ion goes through, it energizes this ATP synthase, so that can combine ADP, which is a double photon with phosphor with one more phosphor to make a triphosphor into 32 ATP. So this process here, the electron transport chain makes the most out of the 2. Glycolysis makes 2, Krebs cycle makes 2, but the electron transport chain, it makes 32 ATP. So that's all for the cellular respiration. And so one more thing about some evolutionary solutions when we do cellular respiration without oxygen. For example, like when we are sprinting or doing some hard work. So the first solution is lactic acid formation. Okay, so glucose, that goes through glycolysis, become pyruvate, but what happens is that they don't have oxygen, so they want like remake the NAD plus here. So they will use all the NAD plus, so there won't be NADH anymore, so that process is stopped right there. So the solution is that it will make lactic, the pyruvate will become lactic acid. So this lactic acid allows NADH to transform to become NAD plus again, and it can be used again. So the cycle could be could start. But the problem is that this lactic acid is extremely painful, and so you need oxygen to break this down. Like, so when you run along or you doing hard work, and like you have to breathe a lot to take those oxygen in to break down the lactic acid that you've made, especially in muscles. So the second one is the alcoholic fermentation. So it's quite similar to the lactic acid, but instead of making lactic acid, it will make ethyl alcohol. So this mainly happens in bacteria. But one more thing is that they will release CO2 when they make ethyl alcohol. Yeah, so ethyl alcohol allows accept NADH to become NAD plus. So NAD plus can be used again to make energy over and over. And we can see the application of alcoholic fermentation in beer, wine, and yeast to make bread. Like when the bacteria use all the oxygen, they will start doing anaerobic respiration, which means there are no oxygen. So they will release CO2 here. They will release CO2, so that CO2 will make the bread dough becomes bigger. Yeah. Okay, so let's move to the photosynthesis. So to start with photosynthesis, there are two stages. The first one is light capturing, and the second one is the phase of producing carbohydrates. Okay. So first we need to know that in the plant, in the chlorophyll, there are two types. Chlorophyll A, they will absorb violet, blue, and red. And chlorophyll B, they will absorb blue and orange. And so both of these will reflect the color of green. So that's why leaves are green. So this is a close-up process inside of a chlorophyll. So this is what happens. This is the water that the plant takes in through the roots. When sunlight strikes in, it will like break the water into oxygen, hydrogen positive ions, and electrons. Okay, so these electrons here, they move to photosynthesis system 1. In this photosystem 2, the light strike into the electron, and what happens is the electrons, like, they goes up, and then when they goes down, the energy is released, and the energy is captured by the energy transport chain. So after photosystem 2, they goes on to photosystem 1, and that process occurs again. And then in the photosystem 1, process called photoreduction. So this is where electron ends up. They will make NADP into NADPH. Okay. Oh, one thing that I forgot to say, when the water is broken down, oxygen here goes outside, and that's how That's what we breathe in. And about the hydrogen ions here, they go into a thing same as cellular respiration. They want to go out of this phytochoric membrane, and the only way is through a ATP synthase, the protein called ATP synthase. So when they go through this, they will make ATP. Okay. Okay, so the products of the light capturing steps are ATP and NADPH. So these two will be used in the next stage. The next one is the Calvin cycle. Okay, so what happens here is that a molecule called RUBP is a 5 carbon that plus the combined with carbon dioxide that the plants take in through the stomata in the presence of rubisco. It's a type of molecule. There's a bunch of it in the nature, and it helps this reaction occur. So the product will be two of the 3 PGA molecules. This is a 3 carbon molecule, and this is phase 1 carbon fixation. As you can see, from a 5 carbon plus a 1 carbon from the carbon dioxide becomes a 2 molecule of 3 carbons. In the next stage, reduction. So this 3 GPA, it plus ATP. ATP is from the light capturing step, and plus NADPH also from the last step to make G3P. So this G3P can be used to make glucose, fructose, and things that the plants need. They also make NADPI, phosphor, and NADP+. So this is why they will make this thing, right? And these will be the ingredients for the light capturing steps again. As you can see, they need NADP+ to make NADPH, and ADP and phosphor to make ATP, and it's all a cycle. It becomes a cycle. And so next to phase 3, regeneration. In this stage, the RUBP is regenerated, so it can go through the carbon fixation once again. So the next thing we're going to look at is about the number. So here we have 3 RUBP. We can make 6 G3P, right? But 5 of these G3P will go through the generation phase to make 3 RUBP again. So the plant will have the RUBP to make G3P again. So the result is that it only gets 1 G3P out of this process. So overall you need 3 CO2, 9 ATP, and 6 NADPH to make only 1 G3P. So this is expensive. Here you can see the equation. Yes. So what happens when a plants that live in a hot area, what can they do? If they open their stomata at day, they will dry it out. They can take in CO2, but they will dry it out. So the solution is that they will only open their stomata at night, and they close in the day. So when they take the carbon dioxide at night, that carbon dioxide is made into malic acid and is stored in a vacuole. So later in the day, when no more they close their stomatas, this malic acid will be converted into the CO2 again to make the carbohydrate in the chloroplast. another solution is CO2. They will make it into a C4, and this chemical here can be made into CO2 again. So the basic idea is that they take in carbon dioxide, they transform it into another thing, and then they convert it back to use them sometime else. Okay, so I guess that's all for the photosynthesis and the cellular respiration. Thank you for listening.